Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Legal World. Myself Dr. Seema Goyal. As I have started with the series on the Banking Law and Negotiable Instrument Act. And in this series, I have discussed many important questions relating to the banking law. Today in this video, I am going to discuss one more important question, that is about the Reserve Bank of India. My question is, discuss the functions of Reserve Bank of India, or Reserve Bank of India is controlling the economic activities in India. Critically examine the statement. This is my question. And this question has been asked for many times in the previous year papers. And that is one of the most important questions that is generally asked for 20 marks. If we talk about the Reserve Bank of India, that is the Central Bank of India. And Central Bank of India was nationalized due to certain reasons. First reason is, after the Second World War, there was trend towards the nationalization of the central banks all over the world. And the Bank of England was nationalized in 1946. Second reason was, in order to control the inflation, after that is 1939, it was to nationalize the Reserve Bank of India in order to control the condition of inflation in India. And for economic development of India, it was essential to have the complete control over the activities of the central bank. So these are the certain reasons due to which Reserve Bank of India was nationalized. To know about the Reserve Bank of India, we must know about the preamble of the Reserve Bank of India. The preamble of Reserve Bank of India Act says to regulate the issue of bank notes and keep the reserve with the view of securing the monetary stability in India, and generally to operate the currency and credit system of the country. To meet the modern monetary policy framework, to meet the challenges of an increasing complex economy. And last one is to maintain the price stability while keeping in mind the objective of the growth. So that was all about the preamble of the Reserve Bank of India Act. Next is structure. Structure of Reserve Bank of India, that is classified under the two heads. On the one hand, there is Central Board of Directors, and on the other hand, that is directors. If we talk about the Central Board of Directors, that is appointed by the Government of India under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, also known as official directors, and that is full-time director that is appointed for a period of 5 years. And that may be further classified under the two heads. Central Board of Directors constitutes governor as well as 4 deputy governors. On the other hand, if we talk about the directors, that is nominated by the Government of India for a period of 4 years. These are further classified under the two heads. That is constituted by 10 directors that is appointed from the various fields, plus 2 government officials and other 4 directors that is appointed from each from regional boards. So this was all about the structure. If we talk about the history of the Reserve Bank of India, the Reserve Bank of India, as I have told, that was established on the 1st April 1935 under the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934. And central office of the Reserve Bank of India was established at Calcutta, but it was permanently moved to Mumbai in 1937. And the central office is where the governor sits and policies are formulated. Through the originally, that was privately owned bank. But in 1949, it was nationalized, as I have told earlier. If we talk about the functions of the Reserve Bank of India, Reserve Bank of India is the central bank of our country, and it performs all the functions of the central bank. That is, issue of money, bankers of the state, regulation of the banking system in India, exchange control, as well as credit control. These are the all functions of the Reserve Bank of India. It advises the government on the formulation of the monetary policy, and it meets the financial needs of the agricultural industry, trade, transport, small industries, etc. It is in the interest of economic development of the country. It does all its activities. And in helping the reducing of poverty, removing the regional inequalities and unemployment, it does all the functions. Thus, it performs both banking as well as developmental functions. The goal of the Reserve Bank of India is promotion of the sound banking system in India. That is why Reserve Bank of India has been given wide power under the Banking Regulation Act 1949. If we talk about the functions of the Reserve Bank of India, that may be classified under the two heads. One hand there is monetary functions, and on the other hand there are supervisory functions. If we talk about the monetary functions, that is also called as central banking functions, while the supervisory functions, they are also called as non-monetary functions. If we talk about the monetary functions, they constitute that is related to the control and regulation of the money and credit. Second is issue of currency. Third one is control of bank credit. Fourth is control of foreign currency, foreign exchange reserve operations. Next one is of the government. So these are all functions which are generally known as monetary functions or the central banking functions of the Reserve Bank of India. While on the other hand, that is also functioning, doing all the supervisory functions for the government also. The first supervisory function, that is licensing of the banks, branch expansion, liquidity of their assets, supervision and inspection of the working of the banks in India. These are all supervisory functions that are also performed by the Reserve Bank of India for the government. Now we will discuss these all functions one by one. First function that I have told, that is issue of paper currency. As Section 22 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, Reserve Bank of India has sole authority to issue the currency notes in India of all the denominations except 1 rupee note. As you know, 1 rupee note is issued by the Ministry of the Finance of the Government of India. Reserve Bank of India has separate issue department which is entrusted with the job of issuing the paper currency only. Third one is Reserve Bank has adopted the minimum reserve system of notes issue. Next one is this power enables the Reserve Bank of India to control and regulate the money supply in the country. So these are Reserve Bank of India power relating to the issue of paper currency. And the next function is Reserve Bank of India also acts as a banker, agent or advisor. Reserve Bank of India also acts as a banker, agent and advisor to the government and also acts as a banker of the state government. Firstly, it maintains and operates the government deposits. Second is, it collects, makes payment on the behalf of the government. Third one is, it manages public debts and helps the government to float the new loans. Next one is, it sells treasury bills for the central government. Next one is, it undertakes foreign exchange transactions on the behalf of the central government. And it acts as an agent of the Government of India in dealing with the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the other international finance institutions. And the next one is, it advises the government on all the financial matters, such as loan operations, investment, agricultural and industrial finance planning, economic development, etc. Thus, we can say that Reserve Bank of India acts as a banker, as well as agent and advisor of the government. And the next function of the Reserve Bank of India, that is the banker's bank. If we talk about the Reserve Bank of India, that acts as a banker's bank. Reserve Bank of India is a banker to the scheduled commercial banks in India that is working in India. And all the scheduled commercial banks keeps their accounts with the Reserve Bank of India. And every bank is under the statutory obligation to keep certain minimum cash reserve with the Reserve Bank of India. And the purpose of the Reserve Bank of India is to enable the Reserve Bank of India to extend the financial assistance to the scheduled banks in case of emergency. Thus, the commercial banks keep deposits with the Reserve Bank of India and they borrow money from the Reserve Bank of India when necessary. And Reserve Bank of India provides financial assistance to the scheduled banks by discounting their eligible bills and loans and advances against the approved securities. And under the Banking Regulation Act 1949, Reserve Bank of India has been given extensive power of the supervision and control over the banking system in India, such as licensing of the banks, branch expansion, amalgamation, reconstruction, liquidation of the banks, inspection of the banks. These are the certain matters on which Reserve Bank of India has been given extensive power of the supervision as well as control. And the next function of the Reserve Bank of India, that is the control of credit. The Reserve Bank of India that exercises its control over the credit created by the commercial banks. And the next function of the Reserve Bank of India, that is custodian of exchange reserve. As per Section 40 of the Reserve Bank of India Act 1934, it is mandatory for the Reserve Bank of India the external value of rupee. And Reserve Bank of India is the custodian of the country's foreign exchange reserve. Reserve Bank of India has authority to enter into the foreign exchange transactions, both on its own or on the behalf of the government. And the next function of the Reserve Bank of India, that is the collection of data and publications. Reserve Bank of India has also been given power to collect the credit information from the banking companies as per Section 45C and to furnish such information in a consolidated form to any banking company applying for the same with the precision fees under Section 45 Clause D of the Act. And the next function of the Reserve Bank of India, that is promotional as well as developmental functions. As we know, Reserve Bank of India are also doing many promotional as well as developmental functions for the development of our nation. First function is by encouraging the commercial banks to extend their branches in the semi-urban as well as rural areas to develop the banking habit of the people and to reduce the dependency of the people on the indigenous banks and the money lenders. And the second developmental function, that is through the institution like Unit Trust of India, that helps in mobilizing the saving of the country. Third one is by establishing the Deposit Insurance Corporation, which helps in the developing banking system in the country, creates the confidence in the mind of the depositors and avoid the bank failures. And the next developmental function, that is butting up the bankers training college to extend the training facilities to the supervision staff of the commercial banks. And by the promotion of agriculture and rural credit, it is also developed by formulation of the suitable monetary policy. These are the certain functions which are done by the Reserve Bank of India, which are known as developmental and promotional functions. And the last function, that is the ordinary banking functions. As we know, Reserve Bank of India also accept deposits from the central government, state government, and even private individuals without any interest. Second one is it buys, sells, and rediscounts the bill of exchange, promissory notes of the scheduled banks without any restrictions. Third one is it grants loans and advances to the central government, state government, local authorities, scheduled banks, state cooperative banks, repayable within 90 days. And it buys and sells securities of the government of India and foreign securities. Next one is it buys and sells to the scheduled banks foreign exchange for the minimum amount of rupees 1 lakh. And it can open an account in the World Bank or in some foreign central bank also. It accepts valuable securities for keeping them in safe custody, and it buys, sells and golds and silver also. So these are the certain banking functions which are also done by the Reserve Bank of India. If we talk about the Reserve Bank of India, that is also prohibited from doing certain functions. The prohibitory functions of the Reserve Bank of India are: Reserve Bank of India can't participate in any industry, trade and commerce or business. Second one is Reserve Bank of India can't purchase its own shares. Third one is Reserve Bank of India can't give loans on the security of shares and immovable property. Next one is Reserve Bank of India cannot purchase immovable property except for the establishment of its office. And Reserve Bank of India cannot give interest on the deposits held by it. So these are the certain functions which are prohibited by the Reserve Bank of India. This was all about the Reserve Bank of India. And that is, if you have any doubt, then you must put down in the comment section. And don't forget to like, share and subscribe this channel for the further update. Thank you.